The Honourable Leader of the Third Party.
Mr. Speaker, my questions to the Premier today. Recently, this House adopted a motion containing multiple requests for government action regarding the expansion of online gaming. Many good points were raised by members of this House regarding the concerns and potential repercussions of an online gaming expansion. It has been almost 2 weeks since this motion passed, allowing the Premier and his government an opportunity to consider a response. A question to the Premier. When can Islanders expect your government to release an updated response to gaming strategy?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I would have to defer that question to Minister of Finance in terms of the overall gaming strategy. I would say to the Leader of the Third Party that, you know, in an ideal and perfect world, this wouldn't be space that we would want to be in. These are, I think we refer to them as the sin taxes, and these are tricky ones for all governments and for all people, because you are essentially providing a service that could lead to difficulties for the people involved. And I think what all governments have realized is that if government doesn't have some type of regulation in place, we're still left to deal with all of the challenges that are going to take place with these types, whether they're gaming, whether they're drinking, whether they're drugs. And I think we're just but look, to be very honest, it's an uncomfortable space for every government to be in, for sure. And I know, having been in government, that you can certainly relate to that. But in terms of an overall gaming strategy and upgrades, I will need to defer with the Minister and report back. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Third Party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my next question is to the Premier as well. The Standing Committee on Health and Social Development met with the gaming addiction expert, and he had concerns with this planned expansion. Specifically, he was concerned that PEI's lack of spending on gambling addiction supports, which he recommended should be 30 to 50% of gaming profits. And it's glad to hear that the Minister of Finance is considering putting this amount up. But the last figures indicate PEI received $18 million in gambling profits, but only $300,000 was spent on support programs. Question to the Premier. When can Islanders expect your government to increase the gaming supports to levels recommended by the addiction experts?
The Honourable Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think that will continue to increase as we move forward. I think we're really focused on trying to improve the delivery of mental health and addiction services in this province. I think they go hand in hand. When someone is having challenges with addiction, it affects their mental health and so forth, not just them, but their family and their friends, etc., Mr. Speaker. So I think you'll see that number increase. I think we've showed a willingness over here to be open to making sure we're doing what needs to be done, and if that means diverting more of the potential revenue that's coming forward from the online gaming, Mr. Speaker, I think we're very much open to doing that, and I think we could sort of be in a position to talk about that in the days ahead, for sure.
The Honourable Leader of the Third Party, your second supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one common thing I've heard from Islanders is that they can't understand why this government is in such a rush to implement this plan. Concerns have been raised by numerous people, yet the government continues to maintain there's no need to consult with Islanders. The Minister of Finance even stated previously they didn't have any responsibility to consult with Islanders, and therefore won't be doing so. A question to the Premier. Will you respect the motion that has passed and immediately halt this expansion until a province-wide consultation process can occur?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I guess where I continue to come down on this issue really is that I really do feel if we were inventing online gaming, that it would require very broad consultation, Mr. Speaker. What we're trying to do is to respond to a request to the regulating body of lotteries in the Atlantic region, Mr. Speaker, who are saying hundreds of millions of dollars go offshore, which indicates to us that individuals within Atlantic Canada are already in this space. And if we could find a way to do so in a more regulated environment where we can monitor a little bit more closely who is playing, how they're playing, how much they're playing, Mr. Speaker, and to divert some of that money from offshore into the programs and services, as the Leader of the Third Party quite rightly indicates that we need to spend money on. So that's exactly where we're at. So I really feel that we're not inventing something. We're really just late to the game trying to respond in a regulated model for those islanders who, I hope none of them do this, Mr. Speaker. If they choose to do it, I hope they would do it through this regulated format for the reasons I just mentioned. But as I said from the very beginning, it's an uncomfortable space for all governments to be in, Mr. Speaker, and ours included.